Welcome back to EUCF 2024. We are live from Oostende in Belgium. Women's division action for you now. We have Catchup in white up against Mooncup in black. And Mooncup have already scored to take a 1-0 lead in this game. It's Ben Juris and Lorcan Murray with you. And I think this could be quite a spicy matchup.
Definitely potential for a very entertaining matchup. These two teams quite closely ranked coming into it. Catchup ranked 10th overall, Mooncup 7. Coming with similar records, 6 and 4 for the Austrians, 7 and 5 for the Belgians.
Mooncup tasted victory in their first game, beating compatriots Sept 14-9 again. That was close before. Moon pulled away at the end, while Catchup went down 11-4 to the top seed in the tournament, Yaka. And we can expect to see a lot of this with wind and rain in effect. A lot of zone, trying to get some short field turnovers. That's exactly what Catchup give them. Picked up by Rollet. Running a 1-2 in the backfield with Lisson Bono. Freshly returned from Australia, of course. That one, though, is a little bit behind Sarah Rahali.
Maybe not so fresh.
It's a long way, to be fair. Again, just trying to piece their way through Mooncup's front line. Now putting a bit of air underneath it, testing out the deep game in the elements. Excellent recovery there because Leduc lost it for a while, but was able to relocate it and slap it away. But still much preferable to turning over outside your own end zone.
Just like that.
Exactly like that. Mooncup giving Catchup the short field. Going to take a little bit of time in striding over.
Always curious to see what offensive structure they go with when outside the end zone.
Going to be picked up on this near sideline by the Swede, Angogård. Faking down the line. And there's an injury stoppage away from the play. Which is slightly troubling, of course. Looks like Mewen Leduc is going to have to come off, and that is a big loss for Mooncup.
In more ways than one, a sizable player who makes huge plays consistently, including that block right in the end zone.
Yeah, we've seen that impact already.
Only 17 years old, already such an impressive force on the field.
Yeah, game continues to go from strength to strength.
Speaking of going from strength to strength, that really has been Mooncup over the last 2 years, coming to EUCF. A lot of strong players, but kind of had to come together last season, should we say, learn how to play with each other before making the push forward. Still, we're quite impressive. We're not a matchup you looked forward to last year at EUCF, and now one to fear for some teams.
Yeah, certainly. Depending on who you ask, some people even have them winning this pool, overcoming Yaka. And the talent is certainly there. It's about, are they able to fit it all together on the weekend? They're going to get the disc back from Catchup off that stoppage. Able to sub in Eva Borno, who was the target. It's over her head, though, and Catchup gobble it up. Squeeze it behind Borno there, and now they work down the far sideline. It's overshot, and it's going to scoot through the back of the end zone.
So after a quick and quite efficient hold for Mooncup to start this game, things getting a little bit temperamental in the elements.
And you do see it, especially in this sort of weather, where points tend to be either quickly, or if you can't get it, if it after a certain threshold, it feels like it's going to be a while. You know, after a few turnovers apiece, it's like, okay, it's tough, you're getting tired, your energy's being sapped, and all of a sudden it just becomes a real grind.
Yeah, it's the law of diminishing receptions.
I like that. Turning to look downfield then. Catchup at the moment just slashing downfield. Angagor chancing her arm, looking towards the back of the end zone. Beautifully weighted put. Hits the receiver in stride. Daniela Cetina, one of the captains of Catchup, gets them on the board, one apiece.
Cetina, more known for the offensive handler role traditionally, but as you can see there, brilliantly weighted throw and read it so for the comfortable clap catch collection. Playing on an Austrian team who we're quite familiar with, the 2015-2017 run, 2-time silver medals, one of them coming in Wienendaal.
Oh yes, and what a week that was.
Certainly a preparation for this weekend's conditions.
Yes it was. Honestly, there was definitely some games sitting out there thinking, can we just go?
Is hypothermia natural?
I remember commentating a Sweden-Slovenia under-17 women's game, especially where there was, I think the Universe Point took like half an hour in the pouring, driving rain. I've never been as wet. It was awesome. But I was very cold afterwards. I won't pretend that I wasn't.
It was worth losing those toes.
Hey, I wasn't using them for anything anyway. My playing career was long since behind me at that point. What little playing career I had, let's be real here.
That was 7 years ago.
How time flies. According to the algorithm, the final score expected is 15 to 13.88. So generally the algorithm tends to think games are pretty close, I find.
It doesn't allow for emotion so much, like when a team is down by 4 and just kind of stops.
No, it's an imperfect system, but I must admit I have enjoyed seeing how things develop as the season goes on. Mooncup at midfield. Good to see Leduc back out there. Borno. Back to Rahali. I like the tempo they're playing with. They are trying to keep the disc moving quickly as that one is stripped out of the hands of Rollet. But that one, this is just going to go straight into the turf. Catch up with a break chance. Throws slightly behind.
And it's difficult when you try to rush those throws.
It's really testing conditions as Bruno chances her arm and over the head of Leduc and harmlessly into the end zone. But, you know, not bad. Good field position. In these conditions, I think you do have to at sometimes just play that positional game as Brechko picks up. That one tipped off the hands on the second effort reception. Snuck through the grass. Brahali dashes forward towards the disc. Picks up on the end zone line. Looking for the force in. Not there. But Borno is just going to bounce it back into Fiona Schluter, I think, and make it 2-1 to Mooncup.
And like you say, you just don't want to be giving up the disc right outside of your end zone. Really nice dump swing offense. How effective each team, or even how professional, I would prefer to say, each team's end zone offense is going to define your success in this tournament, because you will get those opportunities. Can you isolate, generally front of stack isolation is what we're seeing a lot of so far today, just get the swing and get the quick pop in. Rahali wants to waste no time. And like you say, it's a quick continuation for the goal. And if Mooncup can play that consistently outside the end zone, they'll go very far. Yeah,
when you take shots, it's you're doing it with that weighing the cost-benefit calculation of, okay, how likely is this to come off? If it doesn't, how is it not going to come off? Is it because we've undersold it? Is it because we put too much air under it? If that happens, what field position is that going to give us? And I think you might think, well, actually, even if it doesn't work, we don't mind making them have to go the full length of the pitch. Bernier going for the blading backhand pull that thunks into the floor. So in the order of the day, again from Mooncup. An arrowhead up front, 4 in the back. And Catchup, to their credit, moving through it quite nicely. They've got space on this near side if they want it, and they do. Bouncing the disc around. Awkward catch because that was sinking like an anvil. You can hear the wind fluttering across the field, Mike. Though fluttering I don't think quite does it justice. Angregord fizzes it forward. Trying to break around. Oh, that's a little bit floaty. And gobbled up by Mooncup. It was so good until they just stagnated slightly outside the end zone, showed too much of the underside. But Mooncup can't punish it, and it's going straight back to Catchup.
Can they sharpen up their end zone offense?
Zipped through, but a real fizz on it, and it pops right off the chest. That one again, maybe a little bit casual, showing way too much of the underside. Pops it right up. Now shooting immediately, that's a really good reaching block there. Just a little slap on it, nothing too outrageous, but doing enough to divert the disc away.
You can see both teams just trading possession back and forth outside of the end zone. Look to the flags at the back of the end zone to understand just how windy it is.
Yeah, the rain from earlier mercifully has abated, but yeah, the forecast is not predicted to get any better as the day goes on, I'll put it that way. Faking the underneath option. Cut comes up line and gets. Now trying to work it around the backfield with Bernier. Shooting, but not enough on it.
Again, I like taking that shot on though in these conditions. Pin them on a sideline, ratchet up some defense and just try and get the turn. Hook and D.
Got to put a bit more inside-out shape on that one though, because as it was, it bladed quite early.
Oh, if you want it to be caught, sure.
Yeah.
That's not the game we're
Is that
playing.
not the plane?
No.
From the near sideline then, behind their own brick mark. Playing it laterally at the moment and choosing to call a timeout.
Peculiar decision, effectively on your own brick mark. Perhaps just want to set up an offensive look. And perhaps even an offensive hook, not to give up that upwind break.
It hasn't been massively smooth, I think, from Catchup necessarily. It's been okay, but you can tell that there are definitely extra gears they can kick into, I think.
There is enough room to improve to move into.
Yeah, for sure. We'll take a little breather then. It is EUCF 2024. It is women's pool play action, and Mooncup 2-1 up on Catchup.
On October 14th, 2024, the first ever World Beach Ultimate Club Championships will take place in Portugal. Follow the over 600 games as the scores update live online. And with free streaming from the Ulti TV arena, you can catch your favourite teams on your phone or from the comfort of your couch. Don't miss any of the action from Portimao.
2024 EUCF, the European Ultimate Championship Finals, Europe's premier club event. Catchup taking a timeout here, deep in their own territory. Looking like a 3-4 horizontal set. You reckon they might be trying to set up a deep look here, Lorcan?
I would assume that's what everybody's going for in this situation.
No one calls a timeout to get a nice sensible under, right?
It's ridiculous.
Tossing the backhand then, and pops out of Angregord's grasp, and then back in. Again, really trying to get as much torque through the wrist as possible. Really want to get the snap to keep the disc spinning. There's the deep shot, it blades early, and defender was right in the way. Past the Viding Jungwirth. Mooncup just a few yards away, trying to squeeze it down the line, but there is separation, there is space, and there is the break in the hands of Camille Bernier. And Mooncup up 3-1.
Very nice response from the turnover, working all the way down the pitch. Hitting that break side, really nice leading pass into the waiting hands of Camille Bernier. Eva Maxon was very important. And she's going to be. As a defensive handler, you got to have somebody on that line who can take advantage of the turnovers when they come. We've seen several of them come along so far. And the former Flying Penguin from the Université Catholique de Louvain sits it perfectly. And they go 3-1 up. And I got to say, if I'm Catchup, you can't let Mooncup get much further ahead of you. They've shown that they can turn it over. I don't think they're going to keep turning it over as the game goes on. You've got to be stronger right now if you want to stay a part of it. And given how many of the turnovers seem to be born of just, I don't know if they were rushed throws or they were underthought throws, but it just seemed like correctable errors so far from Catchup.
How easily they are able to correct those will have a huge say in determining the outcome of this game. Pull goes up from Eva Maxon and goes out of this near sideline. Just going to decide whether to bring it in from the brick mark or take it from the sideline about halfway.
And I really think in these conditions you should just be throwing bladey pulls that trap people on the sideline, because that's just an ideal situation to set up your defensive look from.
Yeah, maybe one of those that's really awkward to, one of those where it's so knifey you don't want to catch it, and then it's slightly awkward to field as well, so maybe it gets a touch and it rolls out in the end zone, and then all of a sudden you're in a really perilous position. Brechko, no fear, gunning it immediately. Tipped and out of the sideline.
Fantastic work by Mooncup to crowd under this disc.
Yeah, Lagala is a formidable sight. Mooncup look deep themselves, looking for Lagala, but Catchup get their own back.
You need to throw hucks in this game to avoid short field turnovers. Those are the exact kind of hucks you want to throw. Floaty discs that at least give your receivers a chance.
Yeah, I think you want to be overthrowing them rather than underthrowing them as well. Brechko sees the upline shot and hits it. Justik. Back to Brechko. She wants to deal. She sees the force come round and gets the inside-out shape on the backhand. What a put that is in towards the back of the end zone. Lorcan, mouth agape, lost for words as Catchup back on the board. I know that you, as I did, love that throw.
Just have another look at the inside-out backhand. Sits it so perfectly. One of the best receivers in the division. Completely irrelevant thanks to the precision of that throw. That might be throw of the day so far for me.
Sophie Felgich is a player who's kind of really caught the eye over the past couple of seasons. Her game continues to grow, and she is a very tasty target herself. A veteran of many campaigns for her national side already. Was part of the under-17 side in Lecco in 2014, and again in Frankfurt in 2015, and again in Ghent in 2016, and represented Austria in Győr. Played on the beach and indoors as well, and was a Spin-It winner at the European Beach Ultimate Club Championships last year with her home club, GTV Gleisdorf. So Mooncup trying to take down a zone of their own, this time Catchup. Trying to stop and stymie any momentum. Nice break around to Diaz. At the moment, the Belgians are just going backwards. Finding a little seam through there to give themselves some lateral motion. Finds the window and sides it through. Back to Eva Bono. With the wind getting ever fiercer. Trying to get as much of a lead as you can before the wind really closes in is a good idea, as the defence closed in and prevented it from going to hand.
Brilliant work. 2 defenders both collapsing on that point. As you can see, Mooncup trying to play through the gaps and keep it short so they can get more collections under their belt.
The first pass, though, gives it straight back to the Belgians. Going to be making more of those opportunities. Salomé Rollet picks up. And that throw from Lisson Borneau went nowhere.
That looked like a cold hand culprit, really, where that's not where I wanted to put it, but my hand just stopped responding to my brainwaves about halfway through that throw.
Been there. Been there. Rosavuti trying to get it off the sideline. Gives a little bit more lateral space to work with before getting it back.
And you can see Mooncup collapsing on these unders.
There's the deep shot again. Got a big target downfield, but it's well defended by Lisson Bono, making amends on that huck. Intended for Sophie Dorr. This time, it's Eva Bono's turn to shoot it. 2 Moon receivers in the area. Comes down in the hands of Lefebvre. She's wide open. If the throw is just going to sit there, which it is, superbly played after that long shot. 3 against 1. Got to be taking advantage, and Mooncup did.
Brilliant throw from Perrine Deschap. You'd think that's not that hard to throw, it's just a leading pass. In these conditions, it is very difficult. Excellent recognition on the throw. I don't know how you wind up having 2 offensive players against 1 defender in the deep space in these kinds of conditions.
I think part of that is, you know, maybe you are fronting colours a little bit and saying, especially if you haven't got the wind with you, go on, put it up, because it's going to hold up and we back ourselves to be able to get it back. But the risk, of course, is A, you can give you even if you do get it, well, you might be in bad field position, and B, if they do get it, then you're outnumbered.
And Deschap is a fantastic, I'd say, mid player. That's exactly where you want her. Chasing after hucks, she can throw the finishing passes, not afraid of an aerial battle either. Someone who can really get your offense going and keep it ticking with some well-spaced out cuts and some confident, maybe not huge, but certainly confident throws in these conditions. And that's the kind of player I think really sticks together legitimate title hopes on squads.
This one, there's the roll we were talking about earlier. I think it's going to curl, and it wasn't going to go out the back, and Brechko has to pick it up from deep in her own end zone. Catchup were ready, though, and adjusted well. Brought that stack a lot closer so they could get some first passes off. That one's tipped in the centre and plucked away nonchalantly by Eva Bonneau. Just like playing pickup in the park. Rahali. Just off the hands of the bidding Leduc. Slap of frustration from a slightly chilly-looking Maywen Leduc. Brechko gunning it again. The edge, I don't think is going to keep this one in bounds. Indeed, doesn't come back, and there's going to be some good field position. It should definitely come back in further downfield.
I think Deschap is told them about that. That's accidentally really good spirit.
And they're going to say, actually, you know what? Eva Bonneau's going to take it instead anyway. Swing is going to pop up, and exactly the intended receiver there, I'm sure, Fiona Schloeter. Bounces it with Rahali, who clears through. And it pops up again. This time, they're not going to get away with it. Nina Pansy intercepts. You're saying just those little swings with the wind are proving so tricky because it's popping everything up. Brechko taking on the break, sits it out to space beautifully. And now taking on the big shot. There's receivers in the area and defenders, and Perrine Deasp had the right line, a good beat on that all the way, and smacks it before the catch-up receiver had a shot.
Excellent defensive positioning. excellent presence as well to recognize how to follow that disc without losing sight of it, which I think is the mistake that Catchup made.
Showing that Brechko showing no fear in looking long, even in this wind, and generally executing those as well. Rahali stings a hand and bounces short. Catchup needs to take advantage of this. They've got the one-on-one in the end zone, and they pounce to bring it back within one into the hands of Maya Ortner.
Ortner with the textbook 7 cut in the end zone. I'm going to strike towards the sideline, plant, lose my defender when I plant and turn. It's going to attack back to the break side, so you can put a bit of loft on it because I have the separation. You can see here, there's the cut, there's the plant. Perfect 7 cut execution, and that will work every single time basically, because if the defender doesn't stop the first cut, you get to free up the line, and if they do stop the first cut, 99 out of 100 times they're going too fast to react to the plant, and if the handler knows what's coming as well, you can finish it off. Really great end zone look. Just to return to what you mentioned during that point though, it's the lackadaisical swings. It's where you're so accustomed to, like, this is a short distance, I can just kind of pop this gently. No, you can't. And then you start to overcorrect and you start to think, right, I got to put some snap on this short throw, and that's incredibly difficult to catch, and you start stinging your receiver's hands.
Especially when it's like this, those hands are cold, even if you are wearing gloves. And yeah, that throw that's a little bit hard stings the palm even harder than it would normally. Maxson. Nice little thread through. Now gets the return pass. Again, trying to be aggressive, take on that front line to find space in behind. Little pops though, doing a good job of moving it upfield. Two Moon receivers getting each other way. I thought for sure it was going to hit the floor, but it wasn't. That one will.
I really like that offense by Mooncup, but undone in the end.
And Catchup, the game plan is clear. We'll huck it deep, see what we can get out of it. Nothing in the end, apart from some field position. It's floating. Belpaire might get this. They do indeed. Just checking everyone's okay. There was a little bit of a locking of legs underneath it. Constanza Leininger was the defender for Catchup, who was closing in, but was just a beat shy. He's finding the thread through and getting a little bit of space to go downfield now. Chatrin just again going to take things a little bit slower. Lagala bouncing it short with Raymakers and finds the little space on this near sideline. And Mooncup with the hold into the hands of Colleen Chatrin makes it 5-3.
And it's being confident enough to take on those throws. Like the initial break throw that opened up so much space through two catch-up defenders shows Mooncup just have a bit more disc skills. We saw Lagala and Raymakers teaming up very effectively, and then Raymakers got plenty of break throws in her bag and confident to take them on. It's when you have throwers who can make that break throw to the space. Defenses are naturally going to collapse in these conditions, and if you have a couple of really confident throwers who can get you past that first collapse, you're in generally quite a lot of space to flow down the field. And then once the defense falls back and is able to set up again, they're on their heels, at which point a little bit of give go and a break throw is generally going to see you to the good. And I just think the difference in disc skills is what's going to carry Mooncup through so far. Like Catchup can match them athletically and clearly have made a decision to try and do so as often as possible with the huck focused offense, whereas Mooncup not afraid to get a bit of huck focused offense, and certainly not unfamiliar with those short field turnovers that we were talking about earlier on. But right there could just show you they have got the character to play through each other.
Elsewhere in this pool, Yaka have a 5-4 lead on Jet Set Love. Brechko gunning it again. This time there's a miscommunication about who that was actually for, because there's no one even really in the same postcode.
And that's again you're committed to your strategy, which is going to be sending it, but sometimes you're blinded by it as well.
So there's a call away from the disc. Must admit that I couldn't quite see precisely what went on, how much of an effect it had. Chartrand in discussions. Going to retake her place. Excellent heads call. Respect that.
That's something you develop over time. That and a resistance to the pain of getting hit with a disc.
Don't know what you're on about. I'll just catch them. Easy. So we are going to be checked in. Brechko is getting it again. They've given her license to, but Moon at the moment are revoking those licenses. Maria Belpaire that time with the block and brings it in just inside that front cone. Takes a swing. Now finding a downfield option in Neve. Just a little tossed reset. Still getting high again. A little quick bounce there. Threading down the sideline for Chartrand, who's growing in influence as the game goes on. Mooncup well, moving it well, but that's a really good grab under tight pressure. Gun down the centre of the field, but not enough elevation. And her hand is going to get it and make sure it hits the turf. But there's too many of those for Catchup, where they get the disc and then they give it back almost instantaneously. Turned to look at a reset, didn't like it. Instead, going underneath to Harris. And they're trying to call Harris's number again, but the disc floats. Might still be Harris, as I thought she caught that off the hop.
I thought she caught that and it was up, but everybody agreed immediately it wasn't.
Looked cool, though.
It looked cool.
I feel like sometimes we see Julia Harris wear gloves, but she's not today. Brechko tosses the lead backhand to space. Swings. As Catchup got something cooking offensively here now. A little bit more fluidity to their play. Brechko this time shakes the head and not into that one, she says. Pressure from Chartrand, but not enough. Just shelving the big shot there is Ortner. Brechko has this up line if she wants it, and she does. Settina. Tossed into the centre, floating, and too floaty, and smacked away. That good work comes to naught. Harris wants a little bit more support closer. Trying to make sure these throws are as easy as possible in this wind. Utilises the offhand to find Belpaire. Bernier does not give Chartrand a shot.
And that one just getting carried away by the wind. I was really liking Catchup's offense on that previous possession right up until the turnover. They were working well down the field. They were attacking. There's a lot of open side space, and there's another rip. Like you say, the firing range wide open, but the target's consistently missed.
Julia Harris that time intercepts just to make sure. It's the rain continues to come down here in Oostende. Faking the inside and instead going to the backfield. Now Harris looking for it all. Is it going to drop in the bucket? Oh my goodness, is it? That is a superb catch because it was sinking at quite a pace, but a superb late adjustment to bring it in, and Mooncup with a break. They take a 3-point lead.
Fantastic presence of mind. As you can see, Katrin Korsashka chasing it down, but we've watched throughout our careers, we've been doing this quite a while, Benj. This is a turnover when the disc just rapidly loses altitude, but so did Korsashka, getting low and getting control for a crucial break to put it up to 6-3, and it just seems to be fundamentally disc skills of engagement.
You can hear the wind picking up on the microphone. 80-minute games today because of the weather conditions, so there is a timed half cap which comes on at 40 minutes, so we're pretty close to that now. As Borno pulls. And pulls just out of bounds.
Almost perfect. If that landed just in. Because that's what I'm talking about. It doesn't even need to make it to the end zone. I think pinning people on the sideline even halfway down the pitch is an effective pull in these conditions.
Yep, not a bad shout. Angogord looking for an option, just has to reset it at the moment. Mooncup have got the clamps on at the moment. And they get the short reset. The young Verts throw is offline. No time like the present for Borno. Here's Schlurter. Again, nothing downfield. They flipped that transition switch nicely, Catchup, and they've stopped the quick scoring opportunity. That one thrown right into the teeth of the defense, clearly locked onto Borno there, but allowed the defender to take a big step in and slap it away without much trouble.
I want to give credit to Nina Panzi, who collects the disc there. Excellent work on the force to stop the backhand break to Borno as well.
At the moment, though, Catchup still backed up near their own end zone. Low release out in front, the layout. You could see it just spin off the top of Nina Panzi's hand. Borno sisters linking up. And again, Poach comes in, doesn't get there. That leaves a player free. The window closes. Borno guns it. Oh, Mo and Leduc's wide open. What happened there? Complete busted coverage. 7-3 Mooncup lead.
So half will be at 8 regardless, even though we have gone over time. I think that was a matter of once play switches to the far sideline, Catchup are trying to poach across and shut down the options immediately in front of the disc. But again, it comes back to the disc skills of the Mooncup roster. They see Leduc, they hit Leduc. I mean, that's a tempting target no matter where you are.
But they make that easy. They make that seem easier than it is. And this is not to discredit Mo and Leduc's ability, but these throws are tricky in these conditions, and it is a game of inches, if not millimetres there. You saw as well the agonising slide down the face of the headband there of Nina Panzi. And then just putting air under it, the right shape on it. And there are fewer players I would want to leave open less than May Wen Leduc. We might be having the half-time now. Our clock might be a little off. So 7-3 then. Mooncup lead Catchup here. Pool play action from EUCF 2024.
On October 14th, 2024, the first ever World Beach Ultimate Club Championships will take place in Portugal. Follow the over 600 games as the scores update live online. And with free streaming from the Ulti TV arena, you can catch your favourite teams on your phone or from the comfort of your couch. Don't miss any of the action from Portimao.
It's the big one, EUCF 2024, live from the wet and windy fields in Oostende on the North Belgian coast. I say the North Belgian coast as if Belgium has another coastline, which it does not. It's Benji Rees and Lachlan Murray with you here.
It's geography lessons with Benji Rees.
Hey, I find the European geography and kind of geopolitical stuff quite interesting, actually.
I find the mainland scary and confusing, and I want to go back to my island.
It can be both. Which is your island?
The police aren't very thorough in this place.
I was going to say, because are you claiming Ireland as your island, even though you now live in the UK?
I'm about 50-50 these days.
Or are you claiming ours? Because I'll be honest, you can have it if you want. I'm not enamoured.
The southwest is nice.
Is it though? We jest. Catchup beginning the second half on offense then, with a bit of a hole to dig themselves out of. Looking for the downline option off the hands of the usually sure-handed Brechko, who made the best catch I've ever seen in person. I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. Looking down the line, this is floaty, and he just dropped awkwardly and through the hands. I thought for sure that was a score.
It's that split-second descent. Right there, you could see.
I think what happens there is Latour, she wants to go crab style with two hands and then thinks, oh, actually, maybe I've got time to clap catch. But right as she's making that change of decision, that's when the moment of the catch needed to be. A hand block on the 4, so I think there was a pick downfield, but I'm not really sure if that affected.
I don't think how you cut affects the hand block, unless it was considerably earlier. They agree, turnover.
Yeah, nice productive discussion there. Salome Cloilet picks up. Wipes her hand on her trackies. Dumps to Rahali. A little bit behind, but Rollet catches. And now guns to the end zone for Leduc, who has enough separation there. Fired quickly. Just a little... what would you call that celebration? Not like a punch spike. It's just like a little tap on the... Just knock it on the head a little bit. You know what I mean?
Give a little tip tapper. I call that the tapperoo.
Tip tapperoo.
But let's just... It's this throw, not this one. This is the reset. It's this throw right here. Also an incredible grab. But those are the disc skills I'm talking about. Being able to take on that kind of a throw with confidence.
Yeah, take it, quickly in stride. You're positioning it in the right place because it's hitting Leduc's outside shoulder there, which is just giving the defender the least possible chance to come in and get an opportunity to get a block on it. 8-3, Mooncup lead catch-up here at EUCF 24.
Yes, he will. The lovely did.
Mooncup 8, Catchup 3 here at the EUCF 2024. Benji Rees, Lachlan Murray. Before the break, I mentioned that I thought Brechko's made the best catch I've ever seen. It was back in Veenendaal. It might even have been like the first point, second point in the final, but she's like front of stack, I think, and the disc is fired towards her, and she lays out to catch it, and she catches it in front of her with one hand, and then kind of lands, and the disc lands edge down on the ground. And she somehow retains possession of it and comes up with the disc. And to say tacoed doesn't really do justice to it. It was basically in half. It's amazing. I've genuinely no idea how you hold on to that. Unbelievable stuff.
Yeah, she fajitaed that disc.
Yes, so true. It was, full-on burrito at that point. 8-3 Mooncup lead here, and you see the catch-up brains trust having a little bit of a... conversation there. You don't like the term brains trust?
No, I love the term brain trust. So while they have a conversation, let's have a little talk ourselves about what else is happening around the tournament. So you can see things not going well for the Leamington Lemmings. A surprise loss earlier on to Glasgow Ultimate 10-7. They now find themselves 9-7 down against Padova Rangers.
Yeah, it's not been a great weekend so far for Lemmings, but as long as they get into the bracket, I think they'll say, okay, we can just dust ourselves down and pick ourselves up for tomorrow when the weather is better. But at the moment, they've got a tough task of doing that with the game against Mosquitoes to come this afternoon. Mosquitoes, by the way, are 7-4 up on Glasgow, who, of course, beat Lemmings in that first game. I spoke to Nick Byrne and John Tafalis in between, and he said, and Nick told me that when he threw the winning assist, he went to the camera and put his fingers in his ears as if to shush some pundits who had spoken disparagingly about Glasgow. I don't know possibly who he could mean.
Everyone. Yaka are 7-6 up on Jet Set Louvre.
Yeah, and Jet Set have shown that they can hang with teams when they are on form. They also have a couple of lopsided results, and I think they can be quite vibes-based, but they played Mooncup close in that first game this morning before Mooncup were able to pull away at the end. So I think the longer they stay in the games, the more they generate that belief. If you can get on top of them early, I think you can be... you can kind of accelerate away from them, but the more you let them in the game, the tougher an opponent they become.
We will see if Catchup can prove to be eponymous as they try to accelerate themselves in this game and fight back into it. You imagine they're going to look to do it through a lot of hucks.
Maybe instead of Catchup, they should name themselves Enormous Lead.
It's about putting out in the world what you want, right?
Exactly, nominative determinism. But I guess, say when you're behind, it's fine, we'll catch up. So we are. Youngvert into the centre, really speared that in there. And it doesn't matter how it sticks as long as it sticks, especially in these conditions. You've seen a lot more aesthetically pleasing catches hit the floor, which would make them not catches, but you see what I mean. Angugord looking for Youngvert, really tight pressure, trying to come round, but she does well to hold her position and hold firm. That time, just trying to finesse it in there, but overthrown. The defender was ready and waiting, and with no force, able to put air underneath it, going deep. This is a beautiful throw, and Lagala just couldn't quite catch up with it. Where was the layout, Carmen?
That's exactly what I'm thinking, but it's another example of how quickly these discs drop.
I think she feels like, yeah, for almost all of that, she's like, okay, I don't need to lay out for this. Why am I going to make this more difficult for myself? But you're right, it does really drop. It's like a little bit like coyote physics. I'll explain that to you after we get the resumption of play with this huck, which is going to go out of the sideline.
Because as we all know, gravity works differently in Madrid.
Nice. Not Quixote physics, coyote physics. As Mooncup back in play. Getting it off the sideline. Giving themselves both sides of the pitch to aim at. Faking the first under, but taking it at the second opportunity. Now pivots to get it in the backfield. Into space, Lagala with the audacious inside-out backhand. And that did not come off how she planned.
You ever see a throw you really want to work?
Oh yes. Like, I'm thinking about a Valeria Cardenas throw back in Heidelberg in 2019 like that. Unfortunately, it did not come off with any near the same effectiveness. That one a little short, but with a defender right there, it doesn't go to hand. Lagala picks up quickly to go to Rainmakers, and it just goes straight out of Iris's hands. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. Although, I will say that Catchup won't mind. I'll take it however it comes. Angugor shooting towards the back of the end zone. There's defenders there. And Lagala gets a block. But there might be a call. Foul called against contact from Erica Neve.
Very appreciative for the hand signals as well. I like this shot. Take it into the end zone, float it up there.
I think the receiver there, just Neve doesn't really have kind of an eye on what's going on, and she's saying, well, I'm trying to come back towards the disc, but I can't because you're in the way. But I don't know if Neve necessarily initiated contact there.
I would have to agree with you. I feel like it was a fairly standard just defender, offender, bit of contact as you're both not looking at each other, and then Legala gets the crucial block anyway. It's not like if you'd moved back there, you would have skied Legala. She had the right line, so sometimes you just got to concede those things. But at the same time, that's the exact kind of thought process is impossible in-game until you've called something and you take a breath. And then you can kind of review a little bit. And these two teams, while the game isn't that close, their conversation so far has been very amicable and they've resolved things.
Now we've got a break and play. Can I explain to you the concept of coyote physics?
Oh, yes, please.
So it's something that you see quite a lot in video gaming, in like platformers, and the idea is that quite often the way you perceive things is when like you want to try and jump at the very edge of a platform, for example. But often, like, timing that is actually quite tricky, and so a lot of time video games give you a little bit of leeway, these coyote steps. So the idea is that you can actually jump a little bit after you go off a platform, and you can still actually jump even though you don't have a floor beneath you. And it comes, as you might expect, from like the Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner cartoons. You know, when you run off a cliff, and then you don't realise that you're off a cliff until you look down, and then suddenly you sink like a stone. We've had a little bit of that with the disc today, where it's kind of gone, and then the rider's thought, actually, I shouldn't be here, and then it's just sank immediately.
The undoing of everyone who tries to walk on air looking down.
I knew we shouldn't have bought these Acme discs. It's a joke, of course, because Eurodisc is indeed the provider of the discs for all EUF events.
And if you want to get cartoon dynamite, no better place to look.
Another call away from the disc, which is just a few of these beginning to creep in and slow the pace of the game down a little bit.
We are approaching the final quarter. I do like it being 80 minutes rather than 90 minutes because I can...
You can break it into 20-minute quarters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This point has been about 10 minutes long now.
And in these conditions, points do have the tendency to do that as a miscommunication gives it to Mooncup. Legala, who looks very prepared for the wet weather, I will say. Goes back to Bernier at the reset. Lashes the inside flick through and it finds Legala. And that time undercut. Good spacing defensively to be able to step in front and get not just the block but the interception. Because now they're back on offense and Catchup finish it in style. On the board then in the second half. Excellent catch there by Marlon Keinsmeyer.
And the interception was brilliant, almost like a trap being laid and sprung as Mooncatchers were trying to swing it around, trying to almost spread themselves out a bit more, which in these conditions, the wind won't just upset throws. It won't just cause them to drop quicker or cause them to flutter more. It slows them down. And you can see that when people go for breaks. The windows are smaller. And right there, just not enough zip. But what I really want to talk about is this break side rushing offense by Catchup. That was fantastic. Three-person move, just charging up the line, trusting the backhand breaks to be there. And if you are being forced to flick consistently, as all teams are in these situations, those backhand breaks are available. If you can elevate them and lead your team effectively, know the timing of it, it'll work out. And that was really, really nice quick turn offense from Catchup. So a bit more of that and they could crawl their way back into this game.
I like the finish as well. A little bit of Springsteen in the knee slide as she made the reception.
Springsteen's your go-to knee slide?
No, Busted's my go-to knee slide, but I didn't want to sound that uncool.
Well, that's what I go to school for too, baby.
That ball is going to tail out of this sideline, and by the way, now that the rain has abated, we've been able to get the drone in the air.
We can see clearly now the clouds have gone.
And there are no obstacles in our way, as Catchup try and provide an obstacle for Mooncup. Harris showing the around, and they're just going to bounce it through the middle if they can. Sees the window and fires it. Good spacing from Moon. Bouncing it quickly on the end zone line. But not rushing it, not forcing it. If it's not there, Raymakers. Back to Maxon. Maxon zings a blade. Was too hot to handle in the end for Rahali.
Got to give credit on the defensive pressure as well. Not an easy disc to track with a big body in the way.
It's fine. Don't know what you're worried about. Pansy then back into the backfield. Brechko, front centre of our end zone.
I don't like these cuts from Brechko. I get it, you're going every second pass, but well, now you've got a bit of space for the huck, never mind.
Just waiting maybe for the defender to step off a little bit. Height mismatch downfield. And Belper just comes right over the top. And plucks it off her opponent's head. Now Moon trying to move quickly before Catchup's defense gets set. You can get its teeth sinking in. Raymaker's in space. I like that they're not necessarily doing too much downfield. I feel sometimes you see players who are a bit all over the place, but when they find those soft spots, they're sitting with them and making themselves available. Nice hammer finds Harris, and then the channel leading Neve towards this near sideline for the score.
Yeah, using that position in the middle of the pitch to perfection. So you obviously have to send somebody deep to deal with the people hanging out back there when the hucks come, but the rest of the defense is going to try and collapse in and stop that short play. So as the swing comes along, there's an opportunity before your force is fully on to hit someone in the mid space. They did it several times there. First the Raymakers made the great presence of mind not to force a throw. I do think there was a throw ever so slightly available to Korsatsha. Would have been very difficult to pull off. Doesn't, holsters it, goes back to the swinging. Next time they find themselves in that situation, they're closer to the end zone and they can just rotate through and get the goal. Something I started to say during that point that I do want to finish. There's a lot of pressure on Brechko. Obviously, she's been given a license to shoot, but she's going every second pass in that situation, but it's a fake up the line and a step back to get the dump. Whereas, as tiring as it is, if you attack hard up the line and then either get it for an up the line immediately or plant and 7-cut back into the open side, so you make it a little easier for your thrower as well, she could be catching these discs in a power position, ready to huck with a bit more force, as opposed to, like you said, waiting for the force to step off a bit more to present the opportunity to her rather than taking it.
Yeah, it feels like it. You do get that more positive momentum when you get into those power positions rather than trying to huck from a standstill that is often difficult. Going to start with a drone cam here for you. Give you the bird's eye view. As that throw begins to sink, but it's well caught. Awkward catch, but really well adjusted. Kind of clears out. Nice edge on the throw to take it into space. That one is just going to ping out of the hands. Eva Bourneau will pick up. Wearing 30 rather than 13. Not quite sure what happened to her original jersey. Throw begins to drop, but well fielded by Lefebvre. That one blading, and it was awkward at an angle, and I don't think Lefebvre quite had the hand set properly there. And Lefebvre had to watch it roll away. But Catchup will be picking up from the front of their own end zone, which is, not a bad trade-off for the Belgians. Johanna Dahl brings it to the front of her end zone. So this was a catch-up O point. And you can see there the disc in and spins out. Rahali picks up quickly, trying to strike. Well, they're not set, and slightly fishy on the catch. But the main thing is that it sticks in there.
Honestly looked like she was trying to bury it right into the chest. Latour who got the catch?
It is Latour.
Great positioning again, and something Mooncup through their work as we have another look at the turnover. Tough catch.
Yeah.
But watch the flow through. So watch immediately as the cutters pull across, right? Open side. Force reacts. open on the break. And that kind of movement and confident in the throwing ability is really setting Mooncup apart. And you got to start wondering, like last year we said, that's a good roster. And, you know, you got Lankert as your coach. You got a pretty good chance of putting together quite a confident team. Another full season under their belts now, coming into this tournament. Outside shot, I think when you look at the outside shots,
They have a shot.
Yeah, would you put them as high as Rut? Considering, sorry, I'm basing this off the fact that there's 4 established powers, and then after that, Mooncup, Rut, kind of in that next tier.
Mooncup. So who are your 4 established powers? Yaka, Shout,
Jinx.
I
suppose maybe I was kind of already counting Rut in it.
As Mooncup get a freebie there. Bono tossing that into space. Awkward catch. Really well made there by Diasp. The throw, though, is a little bit behind Bono, and Catchup splashes a sped. Looking downfield, this is going to hang, but well read, well tracked, well brought in. Pansy just outside the end zone. Looking, and I think that was accidentally bumped out of her hands. And foul is quickly accepted, so that will reset the score back at 0.
You don't think maybe a little bit of a crafty foul to stop the around throw?
No. I don't think you can. I've seen crafty fouls, and I don't think they look like that. It's a lovely little tossed backhand high there, brought in for the score.
Some crafty throws and catches as well as Catchup. 10-5. Not too close to this game, but getting a little bit more confident in the conditions.
Yeah,
hope.
They're not out of it yet, but certainly, you know, you're going to need to start finding some ways to get breaks on the board, which they haven't been able to do as yet in this contest.
If they're not out of it yet, if Mooncup score again, I think that's the end of the game.
Another break, definitely.
To return, I would say any score, to be honest with you. 10-5 with 15 minutes left to go.
I mean, we do not have hard time caps in place, so Mooncup will have to finish it. But yes, you know, the more you have to come back when the cap comes on, the harder it is, of course. Sorry, I'll let you finish.
No, so just to return to my point. So maybe not as established the top 4. I got confused because several of you picked East Block, but I would actually put them in the
second tier. Yeah.
So it's more like 3-3. So Yaka, Shout. I mean, there's so much pedigree there.
Jinx,
natural to understand. And then Jinx just really talented. I mean, pedigree to an extent through the national team, but like as a club team, haven't experienced that same success. And then the next tier, Rut coming up. We all know who's on that team. East Block making a reputation for themselves. That Czech team also very impressive. And Mooncup.
Yeah, you could argue, of course, that, you know, given the regular season they had, 3SB could be in that tier as well.
Lost 13-10 to Bristol this morning.
But they did drop to Bristol this morning.
I would put Bristol almost in that tier too, but then I live in Bristol.
Maybe that tier 2.5?
Yes, with 3SB.
Why that couldn't be 3? I don't know. A little bit of a floater. Bono came flying. It's not Bono, excuse me. I saw the red underneath and thought it was. It is Camille Bernier.
Going for a little bit of a superwoman. Supergirl? Do they call her Supergirl?
I'll be honest. It's not my wheelhouse. Shot deep, but Youngvert didn't really give the receiver a chance. Harris gets it in play quickly. Just about got hands underneath that, did Belpaire. Now she's shooting. Defenders in the area, and it bounces back to Bernier. And I think she had a bit more time to go for that with 2 hands.
I don't think she was prepared for that disc to curve back that far. I certainly wasn't.
But the wind is making things under... That is close between Bernier and the catch-up players, the 54 of Leininger.
I honestly thought Bernier got that first.
That was my initial gut instinct.
Yeah. Bernier's having a hell of a point right now. Getting involved at all levels.
Some catch-up players on the sideline offering a perspective. And it is going to stay with Mooncup. It is an interception for Camille Bernier.
Again, very spirited game.
Yes, I agree. Rainmakers trying to shoot over the top.
I like that look.
It just didn't quite get the sit on it that it needed. With the hang time, I think Clara Amalia Lazzaris would have been able to bring it in, the Italian. There's quite a lot of international flavour on this Mooncup roster.
There really is. I was looking at that beforehand. It's a couple of teams that are kind of like that. Quixotes as well. Bring a bunch of different nationalities. Heck, another team in the mixed division. Lots of different nationalities.
Scrambling a little bit to get a reset off. Still count getting high. And maybe too high.
I don't know if that was 10 seconds. I feel like that was 8, 9, 10 seconds.
It's always tricky without actually timing it. It's going to be contested, it looks like, and stay with Catchup for now, coming back in and resuming on stalling 8.
That was more than 2 seconds. So.
And that time, Rainmakers was able just to step in front and get the block with good dump coverage. Tossed backhand into space for Mooncup, getting the job done as Belpaire finds Bernier.
I had to be Bernier who got that score.
Felt like it, didn't it?
The work she put in on that point on both sides, involved in so many key moments. Gets the block. That's bookends. Got the block that was the possession that led to that score. I consider that bookends. You think it's got to be one? It's got to be a clean break?
Yeah, I think it's got to be the possession, because Rainmakers gets the block here.
You're right. I forgot about that.
And then she wants to pick it up and punch it in, and then it's like, actually, there's no one in the end zone who's ready for this.
There's been great discipline from Mooncup. Again, probably goes back to the coaching. But that's the second really smart presence of mind decision we've seen Rainmakers make, and far from the second we've seen Mooncup make.
It's nice because there are times when they do pick it up and go quickly, but you see they go over, they have a look before they do it, rather than picking up and then looking and, I don't have anything here. Timeout. And you feel very sheepish because you've stopped play when you didn't need to anyway. Speaking of timeouts, we've got one here now. Mooncup up 11-5 on Catchup as we look down on the Mooncup huddle here at EUCF 2024.
On October 14th, 2024, the first ever World Beach Ultimate Club Championships will take place in Portugal. Follow the over 600 games as the scores update live online. And with free streaming from the Ulti TV arena, you can catch your favourite teams on your phone or from the comfort of your couch. Don't miss any of the action from Portimao.
Mooncup 11, Catchup 5 here in the women's division. Mooncup looking to continue their win streak from this morning when they bested their compatriots Jet Set Love. And you're seeing there the drone camera following coach Innie Lankriet. Kind of one of the best coaches on the continent. A wealth of experience playing for Belgium and for Gentle and various outfits coming out of Gent as well. But the coach of the successful Tokai Super Team at Windmill as well. I believe that she is also in negotiations, potentially, for another Ulti TV appearance in future.
Well, keep your eyes peeled on that one. And right now, a little bit of an update from elsewhere in the group. Yaka 10-9 up on Jet Set Love. Exactly what you said, Benji, proving to be true. If you let them stay close, they will threaten you. Very much a Vibes team, and after getting dispatched to a certain extent by Mooncup, they are fighting right now.
But again, that game with Mooncup was 8-all, 9-all, I think, before Mooncup ran away with it at the end. So they can keep it close as that one is overthrown, and Harris will gleefully pick it off, putting a bit of air underneath it. Not too much real gun in it, and Lagala bids. And it was spectacular, even if it was short.
Have an easier time jumping over the English Channel.
Although that's not the dinosaur hat. My preview was wrong. Also, you can be sure that Glagala will be there with her dinosaur hat. And now I feel like a fool. Everything else I said was correct, obviously. Brechko. Taking a reset that was a little behind, but well scooped. Brechko looking for the power position down line. Had to reach down to catch it, and it bounced out. Maxon picks up. Little shake and bake from Neve to get free, but the throw doesn't connect. Brechko again. You can see that cut developing down the centre of the field. Has to hit it and does. They've got that second away shot. Well, they did for a little bit before the window closed. Maxon now to Harris. Back to Maxon. Two of them just playing between each other at the moment. Now getting, or they were planning on getting Ombergen involved, but I think she had the time and space to clap catch that one rather than just trying to snatch it with the two in front of her.
I think the cold's starting to seep into people's hands right now.
Yeah, a little bit of mental fatigue as well, of course. Taking on the break down the line for Brechko. Oh, did well to catch it and avoid contact as well. On the end zone. Catchup looking to force their way through. Defender commits. And that allows the bounce back into the centre for the Catchup score.
I think you got to maybe try putting at the base of your offense Pansy and Brechko a little bit more. Pansy's confident taking on those backhand breaks, and
Very much so.
now is the opportunity to go into the power position. That one was led a bit more. Brilliant grab. That combination, backfield, just keep setting up Brechko into the power position. This was, again, that cut works all the time. Sell them. They have to commit to stop you getting to the front corner. It's the most common target.
Well, it works especially well when you've got that synergy with the thrower, because if they know you're making that move and the thrower sells it as well, the mark knows that, oh, there's something going on there, so they come a bit round. The defender downfield sees it in the peripheral vision, so they commit to it as well, and that gives you much easier space to take on the other option.
Textbook. I just love the 7 cut and its variations. And it has become standard for a lot of people. Like, that's the move, the front to stack isolation. We're going to fake one way, cut the other way, and trust for a break throw. Generally a higher league's backhand most of the time in that situation. But it's just so vital, your consistency and your efficiency when you're in the end zone. And that cut can open up a lot of opportunities.
Mooncup then just inside their own territory as Rahali goes back to Borno. Ava Borno, that is. Breaking into the centre to Rahali. Continuing, fires it downfield to Leduc. Taking the reset. Rahali running things at the moment, takes on the backhand break and executes it perfectly. Lisson Borno. Back to Rahali, puts a little bit of float on that one for the throw and go. But gets the return pass. This is looking smooth so far for Mooncup and floated over the top. The Duke was in the back, but it didn't matter because Fiona Schloeter had it anyway.
Comfortable and confident. Rahali and the
Ava
Borno assist. I completely spaced there for a second, sorry. But brilliant work between the three of them, just swinging it back and forth, attacking up the line. A bit of a weave, some people call it, dominator set, some other people call it, but the idea of the three handlers working together, and then once the defense started to pull itself apart to try and limit their options, the big throw downfield.
That's the most normal ultimate I've seen all day. Like, where it feels like the wind has dropped a little bit and there's no rain, but generally I think teams have got into that mindset of we're going to have to play ugly a little bit, but actually that's a good example of playing the conditions as they are. You know what? At the moment, it's not too bad. We can just play our normal game. And that looked very smooth.
And Mooncup, that's the kind of offense I imagine they draw up in training. And you see how much it survives contact with an opponent and with the elements. like you say, they are in a commanding position in this matchup right now. We also have Pelt playing Disconnection on the other field. If any of you want to check out the German versus Ireland matchup.
And we do have our first final score of this round, by the way, and it's come in that pool with Pelt and Disconnection. Deep Space 15-4 over Heck. After Pelt played Deep Space close this morning, they were 11-10 up at one stage. Before Deep Space were just able to finish that one out.
That's championship caliber.
Borno takes on the break. Now floating, but plenty of time in the chase down. Fakes the continuation. It could have gone, but just trying to be a bit more circumspect with it. Leduc pointing for it in the back of the end zone. Instead, no, short to Rollet. Things very compressed on the sideline. I want to see them take on the break and utilise that wide open green lush grass on the far side. Ava Borno instead tries to force it to Rollet, and it falls incomplete.
They're at their best when they're leading each other, right? And this is very difficult to do in these conditions. You see them start to calm down a little bit, but they've also reacted to it and adjusted their throws and able to put a bit more sit on them. So when they can throw them into space and trust the receivers to chase it down, that's Mooncup's offense working in full flight. Trying to force it into windows like that, not so much.
As he Schutzfeld to bring the disc back in. Catchup operating in their own end zone down the centre of the field. Well, that's a floater, and I'm pretty sure that wasn't how they drew it up, but they won't mind. Getting it off the sideline now, continuing. It's a low throw, but Schutzfeld gets underneath it well. Thought about taking the shot on, but it didn't really need to. Unfortunately, popped it up. Beatrice Lefebvre. Eva Borno with the odd shoes as ever. Not a look that I could pull off.
You could try.
I could try. There's the deep shot. Oh my word, what a ripe, juicy peach of a throw that just sits there, and you can see Lefebvre. She can scarcely believe her luck.
She could have started a rental property in the amount of free ground she had on that one. Excellently disguised cut, also slow to react on the defensive side, and Mooncup 13-6 up. Time about to go. Very well could be a game to 15.
Yeah, we'll have to get the confirmation whether the hooter went on just before or just after that point. There you see so much separation, and it just sits, doesn't it? It's beautiful. It lures you in like the scent of a pie on a windowsill.
You talking about your transient days?
You know what I mean, right? I've made quite a few cartoon references on this game, and I don't know why.
Yeah, it's a Friday. It's coming up to midday. You don't have a job. Shouldn't you normally be watching cartoons then?
What do you think this is? Was this not a job? Am I not getting paid?
You're getting paid?
You're not getting paid?
Not in money.
That's fair.
But in life experience.
And in the case of Upila, we've got in the bedroom. And in money. Jungwirth picks up from the floor. Faking the high release. Looking around into the centre. Trying to clear this lane down the near side. Sat into space. Timing comes a little bit late there. Angegord looking central. Thought they might take that break continuation on, but they do it the second time of asking. This is smooth so far. From Catchup. Angegord to the end zone. Oh, it's going to float. Second effort. Spectacular from the Austrians. It'll be game to 14 here. 13-7. I thought initially that she'd misread it and let the opportunity go, but it was chased down superbly. Not a lost cause. And Marlon Keinsmeyer makes it on the scoreboard in sensational style.
And that's the best their offense has looked in the middle and short space all game long. Excellent recovery grab.
What I like is that she realised quite early on that actually this is not the way it's going to stick. If I'm going to get this, it is going to be by chasing it down and laying it out rather than trying to bid towards it like that.
Very smart. A lot of the times you see people fly at it, and I'm always left wondering. I feel like if you'd ran in a straight line, you would have got that.
Yes. 100%. And, you know, I don't know. I mean, players know their speed better than I do, right? So often people might think, no, I genuinely thought that was the only way I had a shot at it. But sometimes, from our perspective, it looks differently, and that's a good example of recognising, actually, you know what, I do have a shot at this, and that will make things easier for me. And also, it looked cool.
It did look very cool.
It did look cool.
But even before that, the whole offensive flow.
Yeah, I thought was excellent.
It was really impressive. Leading people into space for up-the-line cuts. Good rotation and swinging back into the center so that they didn't let Mooncup kind of collapse in on them close to a sideline, which has happened a few times. Waiting for the highest percentage shot to the end zone before taking any of them on. Really nice stuff from Catchup, showing that they've still got plenty of fight left in them and not a pre-quarter anyone would look forward to.
A couple of more final scores coming in, by the way. 15-7 over Bristol. And
maybe I'll move Bristol into Tier 3 now.
Things going from bad to worse for Lemmings. 15-12 they lost to Padova Rangers. So what's gone on with the Lemmings this weekend, I couldn't tell you. On the end zone line now, Mooncup looking to ice this one out. Raymakers, simple, just the bounce into the centre. Defender assumes that that clear's going to come all the way through. Just takes the angle again. Raymakers leads it into space. Lovely done. Chartrand with the score and Mooncup with the dub.
7 cut.
It's the 7.
7 cut.
Lucky number 7.
And nothing lucky about this win. Mooncup outclassing Catchup.
Yeah.
Although outclass is the wrong word to use. Besting them and looking deserved winners, but in a game that was filled with class and a couple of highlight plays. Plenty to enjoy and still plenty to come, Benji.
There is indeed. Let's have a look at that final score again. Sensible from Chartrand. Okay, we don't have anything in the end zone, but I can just dump it off, go and score myself, and finish things out. I mentioned, of course, that disconnection pelt is going on behind us. At the moment, in the next round of games, Field 23 has One Tribe versus XVI. One Tribe won their first game this morning against Isno on Universe. One Tribe lost quite a close one in the end to Mooncatchers.
One Tribe, sleep on them at your peril. I mean, a couple of us did in our predictions and stuff, but when you look at the last tournament that they played before coming here, some impressive results.
And XVI playing Mooncatchers closest, you know, indicate some of their quality. On this field, Liam and I are going to be calling East Block versus Troubles, a rematch of a sensational quarterfinal at last EUCF. And there is also Wall City versus Hrut on the VO stream. And 2 more rounds after that. TC Tauca versus Reading, Lemmings versus Mosquitoes. Hrut 3SB, Yaka Mooncup, and then finishing off with Jinx Midnight versus East Block and Wall City versus Chevron Action Flash. So you know where to be. Keep it locked here on Solid Sport for EUCF 2024. Final score is Mooncup 14, Catchup 7. We'll see you on the other side.